Welcome to the Literary Titan podcast. In every episode, we dive into a book we've just read and share our thoughts, from best-selling authors to rising literary stars. We read it. Now let's talk about it.
The 13th Cagebreaker is a young adult fantasy set in a glittering, ruthless magic school where talent is currency and control is everything. We follow Sparrow Roe Kettler, a dockside voice mage whose mother vanished years earlier after attending Cantara Academy on the same kind of scholarship. When Roe arrives, the Academy's Designating Stone brands her as the 13th amethyst, the first student it has ever physically marked, tying her to a secret history of cagebreakers and to a containment machine under the school that feeds on students deemed too dangerous. The book follows her first term as she scrambles to catch up academically, builds a fierce little found family, falls into a complicated, maybe more than mentorship with Blaise Arcement, and slowly uncovers a system that cages magic and calls it safety, all building toward a public confrontation that forces the powerful to answer for what they have built. Roe's voice is sharp and funny and aching all at once, full of dock slang and small sensory details, like the way her second-hand robes never quite sit right, or how Academy marble smells different from salt wet wood. The writing balances that chatty tone with these sudden punches of poetry, especially when it talks about cages, about learning to make yourself small so people feel safe around you. The magic school setting is lush and cinematic, but what stuck with me more than the floating bridges and singing gates was the constant hum of class difference and scrutiny. Scholarship kids sit under the banners near the kitchens, sponsor families glide through the memorial halls, and every hallway conversation is edged with who has power and who is expected to be grateful. What surprised me most was how much this fantasy plot about a containment vault and a secret cagebreaker protocol ends up feeling like a story about being told your feelings are too loud. The author keeps coming back to this idea that systems call it control or stability, when what they really want is compliance. Roe's training scenes hurt, especially when teachers tell her to forget the work songs that kept her community alive, or label her survival magic as crude and unprofessional. At the same time, there is a very tender through line. Mina and the other scholarship kids who adopt Roe almost on sight, the quiet solidarity in the library stacks, and Blaise choosing truth over the legacy he was born to protect. The slow-burn romantic fantasy element feels earned because it is built out of hard choices and shared risk, not just witty banter. I did feel the book's Book 1 status in the last stretch. The big machinery of the world is still turning when you hit the final page, but Roe's emotional arc from scared scholarship girl to someone willing to testify in front of the board feels complete enough that the ending lands. The author is not shy about institutional abuse, parental abandonment, or the way grief sits in the body, and she flags that clearly right up front, which I really appreciated. The story keeps a thread of stubborn hope running through all of that, though. Roe does not magically fix the system with one song, and she does not become perfectly controlled or endlessly forgiving. She keeps choosing, again and again, to tell the truth, to ask better questions, to trust the people who have actually earned it. That repeated choice gives the book this grounded, almost defiant optimism. It feels less like a fantasy about a chosen one, and more like a fantasy about a girl who refuses to let the people in charge decide what her magic is for. If you like young adult fantasy that mixes a moody magic school, found family, and a slow-burn romance with sharp conversations about power and control, I think you will really click with this. It is especially for readers who have ever been told they are too much, or who grew up squeezing themselves smaller to fit someone else's comfort. If you are up for a character-driven, emotionally intense ride that feels like a friend taking your hand and saying, "You were never meant to live in that cage," then this book is absolutely worth your time.
Thanks for joining us on the Literary Titan podcast. If today's review sparked your interest, be sure to pick up a copy of the book and experience it for yourself. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating, or share it with a fellow book lover. Until next time, keep reading, not just to escape, but to grow.